Okay, so are you ready for this one? Because today we are diving headfirst into a true crime story. And let me tell you, this one is a real head-scratcher. You sent in an article right about this Netflix film, Woman of the Hour, the one with Anna Kendrick, yeah? She directs and stars in it. We'll get this. The whole thing is about Rodney Alcala. Ever heard of him? He's better known as the dating game killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you heard that right. This guy was a suspected serial killer who went on the dating game back in the 70s.
It's definitely one of those cases that grabs you, and not for any good reason either. Alcala was convicted of 8 murders, but authorities think the real number is way higher. I mean, we could be talking over 100 victims.
Yeah.
And across multiple states.
Over 100. That's just, it's unimaginable. So how did he become the dating game killer then? What's the story?
Well, hold on. Before we get to that TV appearance, which is a whole other thing, we have to talk about his crimes. Alcala often pretended to be a photographer, you see, to lure women in. He used that whole artistic persona so he didn't seem threatening, offering compliments, suggesting he could take their picture, preying on people's aspirations and all that.
Wow. So he was hiding his true intentions behind all that charm. That's cold. But then he just decides to go on a dating show. That's a pretty bold move for a suspected serial killer, don't you think?
You're telling me, I mean, it speaks to his confidence, I guess, or maybe just his audacity, because he could blend in so easily. And we're talking about the dating game here. This was a massive show in the 70s. So picture it. This bachelorette is asking questions to 3 different bachelors, but she can't see them. And then she picks one based only on their answers.
Oh, right. Like the original Love is Blind, only way cheesier, I bet.
Exactly. And you have to remember, this is the 70s. They didn't really do background checks back then.
Oh, wow. So this guy with all his secrets just waltzes onto a dating show. Did he at least win?
He did.
Yeah.
Alcala was pretty charming back then. It's chilling to think about now, knowing everything we know.
I bet. Talk about dodging a bullet.
Yeah.
The article mentioned Cheryl Bradshaw. The woman who picked him, she backed out, after talking to him off camera, said he gave her the creeps. What do you think it was? What set off her alarm bells?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's easy to say she had good instincts, but what was it specifically? Maybe there were inconsistencies in how he acted, or like a darkness in his eyes, something the cameras didn't pick up on.
It really makes you wonder, what about you?
I know.
What are those little red flags we should all be looking out for? In our own lives, I mean. But anyway, back to the show. Is there any footage of this?
Well, that's the thing. The full episode is long gone. Lost media. All you can find online are these little snippets. Makes the whole thing even more mysterious.
Wow. So just to recap, we have this suspected serial killer on a dating show, which he wins. But then this woman's gut feeling might have saved her life. It's crazy. How does this film, Woman of the Hour, even begin to deal with all that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, they took an interesting approach. The film jumps around in time, and it focuses on different women Alcala met, including Cheryl Bradshaw. But here's the thing. It doesn't actually show any of the murders.
Oh, so it's more psychological then. So it's more psychological then, like it wants the audience to put the pieces together themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of showing all the gory details, they use suspense, and suggestion. It leaves a lot to the imagination, which honestly can be scarier. Especially with true crime.
I can see that. Like, something awful happened. But letting your mind fill in the blanks, it's almost worse. The article also mentioned that the film takes some creative liberties. Like, there's a part where Cheryl Bradshaw is asking her own questions on the show.
Yeah.
Going off script.
Yeah.
Which you weren't even allowed to do back then. So is that a problem then? Changing the facts like that just to make it more dramatic?
Well, that's the debate, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to true crime, turning real-life horrors into entertainment.
Right.
Where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
Some people say that any fictionalization is like disrespecting the victims. But then others say that it's a way of exploring a deeper truth or giving a voice to those who can't speak for themselves.
And what about this film, Woman of the Hour? Which side does it fall on?
It seems like they're going for empowerment with this one. Yeah. By having Bradshaw ask those tough questions, it's like they're giving her a voice.
I see.
And in a way, all of Alcala's victims, too.
It's like rewriting history then, but in a way that gives power back to the victims. That's a tough line to walk.
For sure. And the film doesn't shy away from the effects of trauma either.
Right.
I read that interview with Anna Kendrick.
Oh, yeah.
Where she talks about wanting to capture that feeling of realizing that someone you're with is dangerous.
And that's definitely relevant to this case. I mean, it shows how easily evil can hide behind a friendly face. But it's not just about appearances, is it? Alcala's case also shows how flawed the justice system can be.
Yeah.
Like, how did he manage to slip through the cracks so many times? It's unbelievable.
It really is.
And then there's that other disturbing side to his crimes. The fact that he targeted young women,
Right.
often those with dreams of becoming models or actresses.
It's awful.
This brings us to Monique Hoyt's story.
Oh, Monique Hoyt. Her story is terrifying, but it also shows the strength of survivors.
Yeah. The article said she was only 15 when she met Alcala back in '79.
That's right. And just like with his other crimes, he pretended to be a photographer.
So he lured her in with the promise of a photo shoot, just like all the others.
Yep.
It's scary how he used their dreams against them. So what happened next?
Well, he drove her out to a secluded place, and that's when things took a dark turn.
He attacked her.
Yeah.
It's hard to even imagine what she went through. Does the film actually show the attack?
No, it doesn't. But the source material I read said that they don't hold back either.
Really?
The film focuses on Monique's bravery, though.
How so? What did she do?
Well, after she regained consciousness, she realized how horrible the situation was. But instead of panicking, she decided to outsmart him. She pretended that everything was okay.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Can you imagine pretending to be fine with something so awful?
I know, it's incredible.
What's strength?
Right. She convinced Alcala that she wasn't angry and that she wanted to be with him. That took some serious courage.
Wow.
And, it bought her some time.
Okay.
While he was distracted getting gas, she saw her chance and ran.
I'm so glad she got away. The source material didn't mention this part. How does the film portray her escape?
Oh, they show her finding safety in this diner, and then there's a scene where the police come in and arrest Alcala right there.
Wow.
It's a powerful moment. Like justice is being served,
Yep.
even though we know from the source material that it wasn't that simple.
Right. Because the article said that even after Hoyt escaped and reported him, his own mother bailed him out.
I know.
He was free. Can you imagine that happening today?
It's unthinkable, isn't it?
Totally.
It just adds another layer of tragedy to this whole story.
It does.
And it makes you think about how different things were back then.
Absolutely. It's mind-boggling. I mean, today, there's no way someone like that, with those kinds of accusations,
Yeah,
would even get bail.
not a chance.
It makes you realize how much things have changed, but also how little protection we really have.
Exactly.
Like, we think the system will keep us safe,
Yeah.
but sometimes
It's not perfect, that's for sure.
not at all.
And in Alcala's case, that delay had terrible consequences.
Yeah.
But you know what? Even with all the setbacks, Monique Hoyt's story, it's a good reminder that even in the darkest times, there's always hope.
That's true.
Her quick thinking, that's amazing.
She's incredible. So we've covered a lot of ground here, the crimes themselves, that whole dating show thing, and how the film tries to make sense of it all. What did people think about the movie, Woman of the Hour? Has it been getting good reviews?
Oh yeah, critics are loving it. A lot of them are saying this is Anna Kendrick's best work yet,
Wow.
both as an actress and a director.
That's impressive. It's a long way from Pitch Perfect.
I know, right?
So we've explored a lot today. The crimes, the film, the victim stories. What would you say is the one big takeaway from all this?
That's a good question.
What should our listener really remember?
I think this case, and Woman of the Hour too, they both show us a really uncomfortable truth. That evil can be hiding anywhere.
Right.
Alcala was able to charm people, to trick them,
Yeah.
to blend in, and get their trust.
It's scary.
It really is. So it's a reminder to be cautious,
Right.
to trust your gut, and to never assume that someone is harmless just because they seem charming.
It's chilling,
It is.
but it's something we all need to remember. It really makes you think. If you were Cheryl Bradshaw, after that backstage conversation, knowing what you know now, would you have gone on that date with him?
I don't know. It's a tough one.
It really is. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into the chilling story of the dating game killer. Thank you so much to you, the listener, for sending in this fascinating case. It's been quite a ride. Remember, stay curious, stay informed, and always trust your instincts. We'll be back next time with another deep dive into a topic you're curious about. Until then, take care.